We also expect the Prime Minister to join us very shortly in time to make his presentation. We also expect the Minister for Economic Development and Planning, Honorable Oliver Joseph, to join us as well. I would like to, of course, recognize the other members that are here, or important delegates who are visiting. Permanent secretaries of Grenada, of other Caricom countries, and associate members, Dr. Philomen Harrison, Project Director, Regional Statistics, Caricom Secretariat, Ms. Eliza Mohamedou, Deputy Secretariat Manager, Partnership in Statistics for Development in the 21st Century, Paris 21 Secretariat, Mr. Crispin Gregory, Chief for the Caribbean Regional Bureau for Latin America and the Caribbean, United Nations Development Program, Mr. Awad Sanka, Head of Delegation, Head of Cooperation Delegation of the European Union to Guyana, Suriname, Trinidad and Tobago, and for the Dutch Overseas Countries and Territories, Mr. McDonald Thomas, Operations Officer, Social Sector Division, Caribbean Development Bank, Mr. Brizan, Director of Statistics Grenada, other directors of statistics and chief statisticians that are here with us, other high-level delegates, visiting member states, from the visiting member states, other representatives of national, international, and regional organizations, specially invited guests, staff members of the Secretariat, our staff members here, including those of the Central Statistical Office, members of the media who are here with us this morning. I want to say good morning, a pleasant good morning to each and every one. Good morning. Oh, I thought we were sleeping. And let me thank you very much for coming. My name is Mike Sylvester. It's indeed a privilege. I'm the Deputy Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Finance and Energy. It's indeed an honor and a privilege for me to be here this morning to chair the opening ceremony and to offer very brief welcoming remarks at this high-level forum on statistics. At this time, I would like to invite you to stand for the singing of our beautiful national anthem, which will be led by one of our leading secondary school choirs, the Presentation Brothers College. Thank you very much. I think we should give them a round of applause for this beautiful rendition. At this time, I would like to invite you to remain standing as we ask God's blessings on this morning's proceeding. I would like to invite at this time Captain Keith Houghton of the Salvation Army Grenada to pray on our behalf. Keith Houghton.
Let us pray. The psalmist said, "Oh, come, let us worship and bow down. Let us kneel before the Lord our Maker, for he is our God, and we are his people of his pasture, and the sheep of his hand." And when we think on this, O God, we realize that everything on this earth is through you. So we glorify you and we magnify you. We lift you up and we adore you, O God. We ask this morning that your presence will be felt in this place. And that as we come together as a group of people to make decisions for the nation of this Caribbean, that you would intercede in such a way that you would bestow upon us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Guide and direct this meeting, and we pray, O God, that you would have your way. Be glorified, we pray, as we come together to make all these plans from all different areas. We understand your word, which you said in St. John, that we should all be as one. This is being fulfilled today as a group of people come together to make one decision. Thank you for what you're going to do, and thank you for what you've already done. Bless, lead, and direct, for we ask it in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Captain. You may have your seats, please. Thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed with a great sense of joy that I welcome you to our beautiful shores, and most specifically to this very important forum. Why are you really here at this conference this morning? This is a very important question for focusing the discussions over the next couple of days on finding solutions to the significant challenges that we are faced with in the area of statistics. There is no doubt that we have done quite a lot in developing statistics in the region. That said, we must be under no illusions that we are anywhere close to where we would like to be. We continue to rely on gut feelings, anecdotal evidence, or good data that have outlived their usefulness to make important decisions that affect the lives of our people on a day-to-day basis. Unfortunately, this way of conducting the affairs of our business, our country, is not good enough, and hence the timeliness and importance of this very important conference. The objective of which is to promote commitment to the strategic development of statistics at the highest level of Caricom to ensure the availability of timely, high quality, and relevant statistics for decision-making and empowerment of citizens of the Caribbean. We are indeed very happy to have each one of you here today, and we feel very confident that the objectives of the forum will be met, and at the conclusion, we can leave this venue feeling that we have achieved much during this short period of engagement. We have an exciting program ahead, including, importantly, a feature address by our distinguished Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell. This opening ceremony will set the stage for a series of engagements over the next couple of days, which includes a series of high-level panel discussions today, followed by a number of meetings and seminars in the coming days. We hope to conclude this opening ceremony by around 10:45, following which we'll have a short break and the commencement of session 2, which of course is the commencement of the high-level panel on the policy context investing in statistics by government. The chair of that session will be Professor Jacob Opadewi, Vice Chancellor and Principal of the University of Guyana. Before introducing the speakers, I want to acknowledge our partners in this very important initiative. I want to, of course, recognize the Caricom Secretariat for their continued work in this area and the support that they are providing in organizing this conference. Of course, the Partnership in Statistics for Development in the 21st Century, Paris 21, United Nations Development Program, the European Union, and the Caribbean Development Bank. Of course, we must not forget the efforts that have been made by our local team led by Mr. Halim Brizan, the director of our CSO, for the work that they have done collaborating with these organizations to ensure that this forum gets off the ground. Ladies and gentlemen, our first speaker this morning is a distinguished lady. She hails from the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, but has been working and living in Guyana for the past 11 years. Prior to joining the Caricom Secretariat, where she's engaged in the process of strengthening the range and quality of statistics in the region, in collaboration with the Standing Committee on Caribbean Statisticians, the Caricom Advisory Group on Statistics, and many international and regional organizations. She worked for several years in the area of statistics, including at the Central Statistical Office in Trinidad and Tobago. She holds a doctorate degree in development studies from the Institute of Social Studies at The Hague, Netherlands, and as you can see, she has been contributing significantly to the development of statistics in the region. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to join me in welcoming to the podium to deliver some very brief remarks, Dr. Philemon Harris, Project Director for Statistics at the Caricom Secretariat.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Dr. The Right Honorable Keith C. Mitchell, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance and Energy, Honorable Oliver Joseph, Minister of Economic Development Planning, Trade and Cooperatives, Permanent Secretaries of Grenada, of other CARICOM member states and associate members, Ms. Eliza Mohamedu, Deputy Secretariat Manager, Paris 21 Secretariat, Mr. Crispin Gregoire, Chief for the Caribbean Regional Bureau for Latin America and the Caribbean, UNDP, Mr. Uwet Sanker, Head of Cooperation Delegation of the European Union to Guyana, Suriname, Trinidad and Tobago, and for the Dutch Overseas Territories, Countries and Territories, Mr. MacDonald Thomas, Operations Officer, Social Sector Development of the CDB, Mr. Halim Brizan, Director of Statistics, Central Statistical Office, Ministry of Finance and Energy, Grenada, Directors of Statistics and Chief Statisticians, other high-level officials of Grenada and visiting member states, other representatives of national, regional, and international organizations, other special invitees, staff of the Central Statistical Office of Grenada, staff of the CARICOM Secretariat, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. On behalf of the Deputy Secretary General of the Caribbean Community, Ambassador Manoman Suknandan, I'm happy to deliver these opening remarks on the occasion of the second high-level Advocacy Forum on Statistics. The opportunity of this forum has been used to hold a number of meetings and events, including the Census Symposium, a regional statistics seminar, and the meeting of the CARICOM Advisory Group on Statistics, which will serve to establish the Caribbean Association of Professional Statisticians, CAPS. There will also be an Information and Communication Technology, ICT Fair on Statistics. This forum, which was originally scheduled for 2013 during the observance of the International Year of Statistics, is taking place at a time when ongoing and upcoming globally significant events are having an impact on our community. These include the global economic and financial crisis, the Rio +20 Sustainable Development Conference, out of which the goal of eradicating poverty was identified, the approaching timeline of 2015 for the achievements of the Millennium Development Goals, the Small Island Development States Conference in Samoa later this year that will focus the world's attention on countries such as ours that grapple with unique and particular vulnerabilities, and the negotiations of the post-2015 development agenda. To drive solutions in all these matters, the importance of data cannot be underestimated, and indeed has been recognized. In the case of the post-2015 era, the United Nations High-Level Panel of Eminent Persons report has called for a data revolution for sustainable development with a new international initiative to improve the quality of statistics and information available to citizens. Our discussions and activities here this week are therefore quite relevant to the global agenda and our community's place in it. I must thank the government and people of Grenada and acknowledge the hard work of the Central Statistical Office of Grenada, led by Mr. Halim Brizan, in hosting these events and extending the renowned Grenadian hospitality to us all. I especially want to thank Dr. The Right Honorable Keith C. Mitchell, Prime Minister of Grenada, for taking time to be here with us to deliver the keynote address. We look forward to him championing the cause of statistics and statisticians at the highest level of the community with the same verve and vigor that he has infused into leading the community in the area of information communication technology. Ladies and gentlemen, we are heartened by the response of our international development partners to the requirements of the community to develop its statistical capacity. Their involvement in this advocacy forum is just one avenue in which they have lent support. The European Union has provided support under the 9th and 10th European Development Fund tranches for statistics, including in the areas of trade in goods and services, national accounts, ICT, environment, social gender, and the 2010 census. Paris 21 has enabled training on national strategies for the development of statistics in the region, with many countries commencing initiatives in this area, and the organization is a key supporter of today's events. The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, along with the OECS Secretariat, work in particular in the Eastern Caribbean countries. The Caribbean Development Bank has supported a number of initiatives, including the conduct of poverty assessments and demographic analysis training, and has also extended support to this week's events. The Inter-American Development Bank's support includes merchandise trade statistics, the Regional Statistics Work Program, the production of a draft statistics model bill, the 2010 census, and the development of a common literacy framework. The United Kingdom's Department for International Development has supported the 2010 census round, including data processing and mapping. The Department of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Development of Canada has partnered in a number of initiatives, including census data analysis, trade and services statistics, and fellowship training to directors of statistical offices of the region through Statistics Canada. The UN system and specialized agencies, the World Bank and IMF through its Caribbean Regional Technical Assistance Center, CARTAC, the USAID, the Government of Mexico, the World Trade Organization, the Caribbean Tourism Organization have also engaged with us in the development of a number of areas in social, gender, environment, and economic statistics. This support of the IDPs and the regional organizations has engendered much success, and the challenge now is to sustain the process of strengthening capacity, for which core support from countries is a major requirement. In this regard, some countries have begun the process of modernizing their statistical systems, and we are featuring them during the course of today's agenda. Therefore, as we move forward with this forum, we need to give voice to the data revolution in the Caricom context. Within the Caricom Secretariat, we have an office, Regional Statistics, completely dedicated to the compiling and dissemination of data for and from the Caricom member states and associate members. Without such data, countries in the region cannot plan policy and forecast our future, whether in the economic, social, or the financial sectors. Statistics is a basic cross-cutting factor and involves all levels of policy. The contribution to the development of statistics to the region by past directors of statistics must be recognized, as well as that of the current crop of directors. The Standing Committee of Caribbean Statisticians continues to be a resilient force, and a number of useful mechanisms have been developed by the Advisory Group on Statistics. We welcome the establishment of the CAPS, which is expected to be formalized during these meetings. The experience and expertise of these groups and individuals and their willingness to contribute to the development of their profession must be lauded. Data are all around us, notably big data is now with us. That is, data that are generally collected by huge corporations or by credit card usage through online shopping and in the use of social networks, and which are all likely to impact official statistics. In this regard, it was articulated in the Harvard Business Review of 2012 that the sexy job over the next 10 years will be statisticians. The New York Times of May 18, 2014 also put it succinctly. Words take a backseat to spreadsheets and metrics as more aspects of life become quantifiable and apps track even our moods. It looks as if the nerds have won. The score is statisticians 10, poets 0. It is imperative, therefore, that we find mechanisms that can take us forward, such as identifying best practices and centers of excellence in statistics across the region, developing South-South assistance, engaging with schools, universities on the teaching of mathematics and statistics, and the modernization of statistical agencies. Obtaining core support for the modernization and reinforcement of the national statistical systems and infrastructure from the governments of the region would enhance the availability of timely statistics to satisfy the needs of users, and also for the improvement of the lives of our citizens. In these days of economic and financial challenges that we face, we need evidence, official statistics, to light the path, to map the way forward, or all our policies will be in vain. In closing, I must also express appreciation to the staff of the funding organizations, the staff of the Caricom Secretariat, and once again, the staff of the CSO Grenada, and all those who have worked behind the scenes to make these meetings possible. May their hard work and the investment by our regional and international partners lay the platform for a successful week and an elevation of the value of statistics in the Caribbean community. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Harrison, for your remarks. Of course, we are very happy that you share with us the role of the Caricom Secretariat working together with other development partners in building the statistical framework in the region. Ladies and gentlemen, our second speaker is another distinguished lady. She is based in Paris and currently holds a portfolio of deputy manager at the Paris 21 Secretariat, an organization which was established in 1999 with the overarching mandate of improving lives through better statistics. She has some 17 years of experience, international experience, working with international financial organizations, non-governmental organizations, communities, regional institutions, and governments. She holds a PhD in economics and has experience in designing and implementing multidisciplinary projects, institutional strengthening, program evaluation, socio-economic studies, and feasibility studies. I would like you to join me at this time to invite to the podium to deliver some brief remarks on behalf of our organization, Ms. Eliza Mohamedou.
Good morning. Permanent Secretaries of Grenada and other Caricom member states and associate members, Dr. Harrison of the Caricom Secretariat, representatives of the UNDP, EU, and Caribbean Development Bank, directors of statistics and chief statisticians, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and special invitees, all protocols observed. The international community is convinced that to reduce poverty and improve living standards in developing countries, it is necessary to promote the integration of statistics and reliable data in the decision-making process. Indeed, the effects of the financial crisis of 2008 are still being felt all over the world, with a slow economic recovery. Moreover, inequalities and the poverty have increased in the world during the recent past years. In addition, the post-2015 agenda is in discussion, and we need to know where we are in order to fix the new priorities for the development issues in the coming years. It is therefore imperative to have reliable and timely statistics in order to design, to implement, and to monitor effective policies to address the various challenges related to development issues. Paris 21, which was created in 1999 as a response to the challenges faced by both statisticians and decision makers, aims at encouraging a better use of statistics in developing countries by providing support and strengthening their national statistical systems. We are working with Caricom to deal with these challenges by strengthening the statistical system in the region's countries. In the past years, meetings, workshops were on the agenda to emphasize the strategic planning and the role of the national statistical offices and, more at large, the national statistical systems in the national development policy. National statistical development strategies and advocacy activities were supported in Anguilla, Barbados, Belize, Bermuda, Grenada, Jamaica, St. Kitts and Nevis, and Suriname. As we all know, many efforts have been made by the countries and results are actually noticeable. I will mention only a few. As of today, all Caricom countries have subscribed to the General Data Dissemination System, or Special Data Dissemination Standards, and all of them conducted a population census in the last 5 years. About half of the region's countries have civil registration and vital statistics coverage over 90%. A consumer price index base year from within the last 10 years, and the System of National Account 2008 or chain-weighted GDP data. But it is imperative to do more and to do it fast. This high-level forum is a great opportunity to advocate and to promote the better use of better statistics, to strengthen the national statistical system, and to support overall development processes in order to achieve these goals. It is important to improve the collaboration in statistics within countries in Caricom, to strengthen the region's statistical bases in order to provide early warning signals on economic, social, and environmental challenges. It is also important to encourage member states to invest in statistics and to make use of the data produced. Another important challenge is to enable the production of a Caricom strategy for the development of statistics that can promote implementation of the Common Regional Statistical Work Program at the country level. Some expected output of the first high-level forum of statistics of Caricom in 2009 in Trinidad and Tobago were advocacy for the statistics at high level in the community and commitment by member countries to invest in statistics as a priority in the region as a basis for development, and by international and regional organizations to greater resource mobilization for sustained investment in statistics. We are still implementing these recommendations, and we need to increase advocacy for more official commitment and to mobilize necessary resources. I look forward to the discussions today and in the coming days, which will help continue contributing to this agenda. And on behalf of the Partnership in Statistics for the Development in the 21st Century, I wish you fruitful discussions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mohamedou, for your kind remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is a national of the Commonwealth of Dominica. He currently serves as the chief for the Caribbean at the Regional Bureau for Latin America and the Caribbean at the New York headquarters of the United Nations Development Program. Prior to assuming that role, he has worked for many years as a consultant to the UN, the private sector, and non-governmental organizations. He has also served as the permanent representative to Dominica at the United Nations from 2002 to 2010, where he advocated for sustainable development of small island developing states, financing for development, the rights of indigenous people, and for a permanent memorial to the victims of the transatlantic slave trade. He has a bachelor's degree in political science from the Columbia University in New York and a master's degree in adult education and development studies from Howard University in Washington, D.C. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to invite to the podium to deliver some brief remarks, Mr. Crispin Gregory.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance and Energy, Honorable Oliver Joseph, Minister of Economic Development, Planning, Trade and Cooperatives, Permanent Secretaries of Grenada, and other CARICOM member states and associate members, Dr. Philomene Harrison, Project Director, Regional Statistics, CARICOM Secretariat, Ms. Eliza Mohamedou, Deputy Secretariat Manager, Partnership in Statistics for Development in the 21st Century in Paris, Mr. Ewut Sanka, Head of Cooperation Delegation of the European Union to Guyana, Suriname, Trinidad and Tobago, and for the Dutch overseas countries and territories. My colleague from Dominica, Mr. McDonald Thomas, Operations Officer, Social Sector Division, Caribbean Development Bank, Mr. Halim Brizan, Director of Statistics here in Grenada, in the Ministry of Finance and Energy, Directors of Statistics and Chief Statisticians from the Caricom region, other high-level officials of Grenada, and visiting member states, representatives of national, regional, and international organizations, other special invitees, staff of Caricom Secretariat, staff of the Central Statistical Office in Grenada, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of UNDP's Regional Bureau for Latin America and the Caribbean, I would like to, first of all, extend my thanks to the Caricom Secretariat for hosting this very timely, high-level advocacy forum on statistics, strategizing for the development of statistics in the Caribbean community in the post-2015 development agenda. I wish also to thank the government and people of Grenada for hosting this conference in beautiful St. George's and for the excellent arrangements made to welcome us here. At the 45th session of the United Nations Statistical Commission, Mr. Wu Hongbo, Undersecretary General for Economic and Social Affairs for the International Conference on Small Island Developing States, made an astute statement, and I quote, that sustainable development will need to be supported by sustainable statistics. In noting the efforts of the UN Statistical Commission, he observed that the tools developed over the last 7 decades, and I quote, have allowed our members to communicate across borders and add regionally and globally, unquote. It is this very important role that data plays in sustainable human development on a global level, which makes it indispensable and for which a data revolution is pivotal to ensure the continuation of resources put towards strengthening approaches to data collection, analysis, and distribution. The United Nations Development Program has been working globally to support capacity development in the area of data collection in particular, in relationship to the issues of human development, poverty reduction, democratic governance, and promotion of relevant and human rights-based decision-making and policy development. UNDP's work focuses on development from a global perspective and transcends the fragmentation of much development work being done through the family of human development indexes and the innovation and creativeness that has been brought by the human development reports at all levels, that is global, regional, and national. The new approaches to understanding poverty, such as the multidimensional poverty index, has led to a new way of understanding development altogether and are at their core transformative. As we advance in the post-2015 development agenda, the global data gaps have been highlighted as we seek to obtain the most accurate picture of human development from the social, economic, and environmental perspectives. While there have been several opportunities to provide input in the post-2015 development agenda, it can be argued that the Caribbean region has been disadvantaged by not having the most relevant and up-to-date information to guide discussion and decision-making, which limits the development of a framework that is relevant to the Caribbean context. Even more importantly, it means that whatever framework is decided, we risk a repeat of the case of the MDGs, where in the absence of baseline data, it was difficult to develop implementation plans and monitor progress towards the achievement of our goals. It also means that the built-in flexibility which is required to undertake any successful development intervention was limited by constraints in having knowledge of and understanding changing circumstances to the detriment of building adaptable and sustainable programs. Having access to data will mean progress towards building resilient and highly adaptable societies. In looking forward, there is the September 2014 Third International Conference on Small Island Developing States, as well as the Climate Summit, which will be held in New York on September 23rd. In addition to the ongoing meetings of the Open Working Group on the post-2015 agenda, on which there are 3 Caricom member seats. These provide opportunities to ensure that we place the idea of sustainable data at the heart of decisions on policy formulation and take the time to look into difficulties that Caricom countries have encountered in the creation of statistical, human, and institutional systems. This is an effort to enhance the availability and quality of information for decision-making and to advocate for the collection, analysis, and distribution of data under a systematic framework to monitor and evaluate progress, make evidence-based decisions and policies to build and strengthen resilience, and thereby reduce the social, economic, and environmental vulnerabilities of Caricom member states. We must work to ensure the region's access to the most up-to-date technology and technical support to ensure the realization of the data revolution. Towards this end, investment in the capacities of national and central statistical offices must not be sacrificed, and efforts towards expanding the utilization of statistical officers in line ministries should be employed. Overall, the value of data cannot be underestimated, and investing in this will yield both short and long-term results. It has become a priority for the UN system to ensure that economic and social development are undertaken in relation to environmental capacity, and also within the context of environmental protection and sustainable development. And with your continued support on our collective efforts, I'm confident that this priority will be realized. As I look at the agenda for today's deliberations, I'm encouraged to see that we are discussing investing in statistics for policy making, that we'll be strategizing and advocating, looking at how we can get the most effective results and how partnership building across sectors will ensure the sustainability of our efforts. I'm encouraged by this and feel that we are taking a realistic approach towards making a pivotal investment in the future of this region. I thank you for your attention and look forward to a productive 3 days.
Thank you, Mr. Gregory, for your remarks and for highlighting the role of statistics and how you see the process unfolding in developing and strengthening our statistical framework. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to have a representative from another long-standing partner in Grenada. He is the head of cooperation of the European Union delegation to Guyana, Suriname, Trinidad and Tobago, and for the Dutch overseas countries and territories. Prior to his current post, he worked in the Guyana delegation as head of the regional section, working closely with Caricom and other regional counterparts on EU development cooperation. He has studied international relations in Netherlands, Spain, and the United Kingdom. Other positions held in the past include Executive Director of Eurocenter, Uruguay, and also served as advisor to the Netherlands Investment Bank for developing countries, among other important postings. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Mr. Ewart Sanker to the podium to deliver some brief remarks.
Thank you, Chair. Permanent Secretaries of Grenada, other Caricom member states and associate members, distinguished speakers, directors of statistics and chief statisticians, other representatives of national, regional, and international organizations, staff of the Caricom Secretariat, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to you. Apart from the subject at hand, these kind of conferences are quite useful to learn more about the background of people you've known for quite some time. For instance, I never knew that Dr. Harrison studied in the Netherlands, and as I'm sure she was a very good student at the development studies, I'm convinced she also learned Dutch in her stay in the Netherlands, so from now on I will be speaking Dutch to you, Dr. Harrison. The European Union welcomes the invitation to offer a few remarks at this forum, having had an established familiarity with Caricom in the area of statistics. We've partnered with the Caricom Secretariat for almost 10 years to support the region in the development, harmonization, and dissemination of economic statistical data at both the regional and national levels. In the 9th European Development Fund cycle, through the Regional Indicative Program, a total financial allocation of 57 million euros was allotted at the regional level. And one of the key projects which emerged from that program in 2007 was a component dedicated to the area of economic statistical data, an eventual sum of almost 4 million euros. It aimed to harmonize interregional statistical infrastructures, assist in the improvement of statistical programming, production and dissemination of key economic statistics, and to train staff and use economic statistics for monitoring of the regional integration process. Independent evaluators rated this component as having attained its expected results and achieved its program purpose so much that it benefited from an additional allocation during the program. This program contributed significantly to the harmonization of interregional statistical infrastructure. A help desk was established, organization of databases for the compilation of regional systems of statistics were rationalized, the regional statistical forum was streamlined, merchandise trade statistics were well developed, and stakeholders extended the scope of work from not only economic statistics to also social and environmental statistics. These successes did not go unnoticed, and the EU, together with Caricom, decided to deepen support to the region in the field of statistics under the 10th CDF Regional Indicative Program by building on previous achievements and filling remaining gaps. Under the CSME support program, the 10th CDF, a financing agreement provides support to the CSME in the sum of 18 million euros. And one aspect of this program is also aimed at strengthening inter-regional statistic systems to produce and disseminate timely, high quality, and harmonized statistics for monitoring and establishing the CSME in the sum of just over 2 million euros by further implementation of the Regional Statistics Work Program through focusing on key areas of statistics. One of the results to be achieved in this project is in the area of improved production and updating of economic statistics. Core social gender statistics, information and communication technology statistics, and core environment statistics. The second main result is to improve the use of statistics in policy making and in the monitoring of the regional integration. This is an issue that is quite close to my heart because I've been working on it the first time I was in Guyana with the Caricom Secretariat. And I believe that monitoring of both compliance of regional integration commitments at the national level and secondly, impact of regional integration activities, processes, they are absolutely key for the success of the regional integration enterprise. First of all, if you cannot measure, if you don't know what is the compliance at national level with different areas of integration, how are you going to allocate resources in a sensitive, in a sensible way? If you don't know, you cannot prioritize. Secondly, if you don't know what is the impact of your regional integration process, how can you argue that it's a good thing? How can you argue that you should go further, deeper? And in the European Union, we've had some examples of how to deal with that. We've had an internal market scoreboard where countries were compared in their track record of implementation of various internal market issues. And the peer pressure and the competition it generated was quite functional. And when we're talking about impact, in the late 80s, we've done a study on the cost of non-Europe, which basically calculated the opportunity cost of not having a fully integrated internal market. And the results were quite amazing and gave an enormous push to a regional integration process, because it was a good way of mobilizing the private sector, which clearly saw the benefits they were not having by not having yet a fully integrated market. Something like that could be done in the Caribbean as well. We would be happy to provide funding for such a study, the cost of not having Caricom. I think I will leave it here. I wish you good luck with all the deliberations, and I'm sure this will be a very fruitful forum. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sanka, and of course we're very grateful to the European Union for the support that they have been providing in integrating or harmonizing the regional statistical infrastructure in this parts. At the onset, ladies and gentlemen, I did indicate that the Prime Minister will join us in time to deliver his remarks. We have some very brief remarks from another very important partner in this room. That's the Caribbean Development Bank. And of course, this is followed by a short cultural medley from our brothers, our young brothers at the Presentation Brothers College. We expect some entertainment from them. And of course, once we are through with that, we will have the remarks by the Prime Minister. Yeah? I would like to, at this point, just indicate that when the Prime Minister arrives, if we can stand, or if whoever is speaking at the time would pause to allow him to enter, and of course we can stand and allow him to sit, and then we can then take our seats. So at this time I want to invite, as I said, another important and long-standing partner in the region in terms of development. We have, of course, the Caribbean Development Bank. And to deliver on behalf of the bank, of course, is a gentleman from the Commonwealth of Dominica. He currently serves as the operations officer or social analyst at the bank. He's a development sociologist with about 40 years' experience in designing and managing the implementation of poverty reduction and social and community development interventions throughout the entire Caribbean. He has pioneered the assessment of social impacts and benefits of development policies, programs, and projects during his career, and is a strong advocate for the integration of social dimensions and poverty reduction objectives into development policies and strategies in the region. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I want to invite Mr. McDonald Thomas, Operations Officer at the bank, to deliver some brief remarks on behalf of the Caribbean Development Bank.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, permanent secretaries of Grenada and other Caricom member states and associated members, Dr. Philomen Harrison, Project Director, Regional Statistics, Caricom Secretariat, other members of the head table, directors of statistics and chief statisticians, other high-level officials of Grenada and visiting members, other representatives of national, regional, and international organizations, other special invitees, staff of the Caricom Secretariat, staff of the Central Statistical Office here in Grenada, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Thank you. I bring you greetings from the management and staff of the Caribbean Development Bank, and wish to thank the Caricom Secretariat for allowing the bank to make these brief remarks. I also convey the President's best wishes for a successful forum and the associated side meetings. Prior to the onset of the ongoing economic downturn, referred to in some circles as the Great Recession, the international community, through a series of fora that started with the 2002 International Conference on Financing and Development in Monterrey, Mexico, and to the third high-level forum on aid effectiveness in Accra, Ghana in 2008, undertook a number of actions that made the issue of efficient management for development results, MFDR, a global imperative. In keeping with this, and the consequential tightening of fiscal space that the Great Recession imposed on both the bank's borrowing and non-borrowing member countries, MFDR increasingly became an important framework for the bank's management. This meant that, among other things, the bank had to go beyond the traditional focus on inputs and outputs of its funded interventions and to pay greater attention on the achievement of outcomes. That is, more explicit consideration of the contribution that these interventions make to real improvement in people's lives. This results-focused agenda, which is closely tied to the Millennium Development Goals, is consistent with the bank's primary development focus to assist its borrowing member countries achieve sustainable results in reducing poverty and building resilience to external shocks. Hence, as part of its current strategic plan, the bank uses the Caribbean-specific MDG indicators and targets to be developed in conjunction with the Caricom Secretariat and UNDP to monitor progress on these development outcomes. The bank's borrowing member countries' performance in achieving development outcomes related to poverty reduction and human development, economic growth, environmental sustainability, and climate change also inform the bank's country assistance strategies and programs. It is important, therefore, when the bank's borrowing member countries' vulnerabilities as small island developing states, including their small open economies, high levels of poverty and unemployment, particularly among the youth, and vulnerability to natural hazards and climate change impacts, are considered. For these borrowing member countries to make the development of both the capacity and capability to collect, analyze, and report on indicators associated to these and other development outcomes, it is a national priority. This means that, among other things, national statistics systems would need to acquire both the capacity and capability to produce timely, relevant, and high-quality statistics in order to input into policies for sustained economic growth and development. The demand for such inputs are urgent now and are expected to increase as part of the post-2015 development agenda. This, as indicated by the report on the high-level panel of eminent persons on the post-2015 development agenda, set up by the UN Secretary General. This, as indicated by the report on the high-level panel of eminent persons on the post-2015 development agenda set up by the UN Secretary General, requires a data revolution for sustainable development. For countries in the region, this revolution will require, among other things, intensified efforts to address some of the critical deficiencies that still exist in the various national statistical systems. While the processes supporting the collection and analysis of basic economic statistics have improved over the years, many countries, despite substantial investments in the last 2 decades by the bank and other development organizations, the monitoring of the MDG indicators and evidence-based policy formulation continue to be impeded by significant challenges related to the collection, analysis, and dissemination of economic, social, environmental, and human development data. Lessons from both the region and national levels indicate that poor development performance will not improve without specific targeted interventions at the level of data gathering, analysis, and warehousing. In this regard, the conclusions of the expert group meeting on small island developing states and the post-2015 agenda in April 2013 stated, and I quote, monitoring and evaluation systems are a cornerstone of development progress, and for the system to be effective, they must be based on strong and accurate data, unquote. This conclusion aptly reflects the value of statistics, of the development of statistics in our region. The meeting reports continue that with a solid data foundation, monitoring and evaluation systems can promote accountability and policy coherence. And with credible data and monitoring system, alternatives to GDP as a basis for clarifying countries will gain traction, unquote. It recommended, therefore, that the capacity of SEEDS to gather and analyze data should be strengthened with an eye to bolstering knowledge management systems and M&E frameworks. CDB recognizes the value of this forum in obtaining strengthened high-level commitment by governments of Caricom to national and regional statistical capacity building as a central element of the region's post-2015 Sustainable Development Framework. Along with other development partners, namely CIDA, now DF, ATD, DFID, and UNDP, the bank has contributed over $6 million since 1995 to assist countries with the conduct of country poverty assessments, which, in addition to providing statistics on the nature and characteristics of poverty in the countries, have also resulted in the production of rich national data sets on human and social development for the first time. And for the first time, central statistics offices are better equipped and have a cadre of persons with skills at various levels in conducting household research. Similar investments have been made over the years in enhancing national trade, economic, and environmental data, but there is still some ways to go. Therefore, the bank is committed to continue supporting its borrowing member countries in those areas and in addressing the specific human development management issues to be addressed at this forum and the associated meetings. It hopes that the deliberations over the next 3 days will advance beyond discussions and result in firm commitments and the requisite actions subsequently by national governments, ourselves, and other participating development partners to bring about some real improvements in statistical capacity in the region, improvements that will enhance the national statistical system's capability to respond to the data demands presented by the region's current development imperatives and the anticipated challenges in the post-2015 era. Again, I wish to thank the Caricom Secretariat for convening this meeting and wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thomas, of course, for reassuring us of the bank's support in developing the region and in particular in the statistical development in Grenada and the rest of the region. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very short and I would say exciting cultural medley from our brothers at the Presentation Brothers College. We'd like to invite them at this particular time to give us their presentation, following which we'll have the keynote address by the Honorable Prime Minister.
There's a place in your heart, and I know that it is love. This place could be much brighter than tomorrow.
Thank you very much for this beautiful rendition. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the highlight of this morning's opening ceremony. Our keynote address speaker is a man who needs no introduction really. He is well known locally, regionally, and internationally for his work in government and elsewhere. He's a man that has tasted success in almost all of his endeavors, whether in the field of sports, academia, his time in the private sector, and most importantly, his long and distinguished career in government and as leader of this beautiful country. He has served in the Parliament of Grenada for almost 30 years, and he's again at the helm of leadership during this period of great challenges and unprecedented opportunities. He's also a trained statistician and has always advocated the need for better statistics for policy making and addressing the needs of citizens. At this time, brothers and gentlemen, I want you to join me in welcoming to the podium to deliver the keynote address and to declare this forum open, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Grenada.
Thank you, Mike, of course, who is chairing this important forum this morning. Of course, I left my Minister of Economic Development at Cabinet, so when I get back, he will know. He will join you. Any other ministers who are here? I'm just getting familiar with the list of our distinguished guests, distinguished head table. I won't attempt to go through the names at this particular time. Permanent secretaries, distinguished members in the field of this important area of responsibilities, members of the press, my dear sisters and brothers all. I just want to apologize for not being able to join you for the entire morning's proceeding, simply because today's cabinet, and of course I had to start off the cabinet session and then join you here and get back to business in these challenging times faced by my country. I therefore want to take this opportunity to warmly welcome all of you to this important session here this morning in this special country called Pure Grenada, Isle of Spice. This forum, my dear sisters and brothers, has been made possible today by a lot of our partners, and it signifies the importance of the role of statistics and its further development in the advancement of our people. As a person trained in this field myself, I do feel a heightened sense of responsibility to ensure that we can raise the bar of this important variable in the development of our country. In fact, my good friend a short while ago indicated to me, we want you to position statistics on the development agenda of the region as you did with ICT. I gladly accept that responsibility in the remaining time that I have to serve at this particular level, and it's not too long. I have been informed, my dear friends, that the main objective of this forum is to enable a high-level commitment by governments of our region to the strengthening of the national statistical systems as a key means of sustaining the development and availability of timely, high-quality, and relevant statistics for decision-making and for the empowerment of the citizens of our entire region. I therefore wish to acknowledge the efforts of the Caricom Secretariat in initiating this forum, which will provide an excellent opportunity for high-level government officials to grasp a fuller understanding of the state of statistical development in our region and consider how our collective action can overcome some of the key challenges being currently experienced. The efforts of the Statistical Office here in Grenada, led by Mr. Brazan, and the Caricom Secretariat, led by Dr. Harrison, to organize this forum ought to be highly commended, and they deserve a hearty round of applause for this effort. Having reflected on your theme, I wish to offer a few key messages. First of all, in my view, statistics must be seen in the context of the voice of the people of our region. Development, as we all know, is about empowering our citizens, whether it is through education and skills development or healthcare or any other social variables. It is also through statistics that we inform about their reality and the results of actions taken by the people or government. This important variable is not only for policymakers, but it's also for providing the citizens of our country with appropriate and relevant information. Our citizens, my dear sisters and brothers, require appropriate statistics to hold the government and all serious stakeholders in our country accountable. Therefore, the role of statistics in development should not be seen as only for governments to monitor, but also to drive the development outcomes that statistics measure through the voices of the people of our region. But statistics, sisters and brothers, as you know, must be appropriate, because if the data upon which statistical conclusions are made are in fact not accurate, then the conclusion means nothing at all. It can only be fooling people. Sometimes I listen and I hear sweeping statements made on conclusions of very important matters that affect the lives of all citizens. And when you ask how these conclusions are made, it is how someone feels. And it's how one feels that he can in fact get over in terms of whether it's ego or whatever is attempting to push down the throats of the citizens of the country. And I mean not just government, I mean all concerned. So the statistics must be based on accurate information. Otherwise, we should shut up. We all are faced with tremendous and quite similar challenges in our respective countries. Low and slow economic growth, high rates of unemployment, high national debt, fiscal imbalances, relatively high levels of poverty, a high import bill, just to name a few. It is therefore difficult to address these challenges effectively if we cannot measure their magnitudes accurately. We are at a time in our region's history when talk shows have become a dominant medium for public information, and at times, in fact, I shouldn't say at times, many times and most times, for misinformation, often generating more heat than light. So many experts in so many fields not having the basic knowledge of what they're talking about, but they're speaking with authority and clarity in their minds. They might even attempt to fool God. It is said there are two types of statistics. The one you look up to, and the kind you make up. In fact, most times, it is the latter. The one you make up. Given this harsh reality, we must and we have a responsibility to develop and to disseminate in a timely manner information products which our citizens can consume and in the process become more enlightened and empowered to play their specific role in nation building. Second information I wish to point out, speak on, is statistical development as it is required for original approach. My dear sisters and brothers, this is a time of unprecedented economic challenges facing us with very limited resources, stretched public resources, and dwindling grant resources. And also, at the same time, a time for the necessity for evidence-based policy making. These two variables occurring at the same time, challenges and the decisions, how we make them. Every development dollar must count. None must be wasted. Governments and citizens alike therefore need relevant and timely information on which to make those decisions. It is clear, even with the best intentions, that national statistical systems are right now not meeting those challenges if we are honest with ourselves. Consequently, we must therefore invest in regional approaches that help to optimize our scarce public resources. It's clear that many of the things we do in our region, each country going off on its own, and sometimes even within a country, each institution going off on its own, wasting limited resources and not achieving a lot. Seems to me this, what we're talking about today, should a long time ago, and it is said better late than never, should have taken on a much more significant regional agenda. It is similar to the platform of ICT, where in each country we're doing a little here and a little there, and each one feeling that is achieving a goal, and the whole concept of what happens to the future of our citizens in this globalized technological age is seen to be thrown at the back room. Therefore, we have no choice. We have to regionalize this important area. And all of us will be the beneficiary of that regional approach. So I applaud again the initiative to have this important forum here in Grenada at this time. I'm also pleased that part of the focus of this meeting is to ensure the regional statistical work program is aligned with strategical objectives currently being pursued by countries. I want to encourage you to continue along this path, as this approach will allow us to build on each other's strengths and tap into the regional support and guidance needed for successful execution of our strategies. My third key message is about the data revolution, as I see it, must be empowered by ICT. The third message. Sisters and brothers, as we chart the way forward for this important instrument, through the design of our various strategies for development, I want to impress on all of us the potency of information and communication technology in helping us to move forward quickly and more effectively. To create the data revolution that we desire, ICT must be the engine. As lead head of government for ICT in the Caricom quasi-cabinet, I am heartened to see that part of this week's activity is devoted to the application of ICT in statistics. You cannot go wrong. This is certainly in keeping with Caricom's broad goal of developing a single Caricom ICT space to enhance the environment for investment and production. I believe, therefore, that ICT has great potential in transforming our national and regional statistical systems to inform solutions to the majority of our data challenges. Technology, therefore, has the potential of significantly cutting costs and reducing the time taken to collect and produce solid data, thus enhancing efficiency. Hence, in these challenging times, ICT and statistics cannot be isolated from each other. I therefore wish to underscore that our data revolution must be empowered by this important tool. My dear sisters and brothers, I would like to encourage us all to continue thinking of creative and innovative ways to revolutionize our statistical processes through the use of this important tool. Therefore, sisters and brothers, I believe that we are at a defining moment in our region. I have been told this week we'll witness the first meeting of the Caricom Association of Professional Statisticians. This is therefore a welcome development. Indeed, we must professionalize the statistical services in our countries. My friends, I think we have the tendency to call everybody that read off a set of data a statistician. I don't know about that. I know that we have to be trained to understand the intricacies of this important area, and therefore we ought not to play games with it. Young, bright students must see an exciting career path in statistics and information and must be attracted to pursue careers in this area. I say to you, after completing a master's degree in mathematics, I decided I was going to branch off to an area of the mathematics field in approaching the doctoral work. And I examined several areas. And I made a final decision, despite being pursued by several professors, to concentrate on their areas. The area of statistics. Because I was able to see how this field can impact on the lives of the citizens of our countries. I felt that whatever I did, I must be seen as making a contribution in a significant way in lifting the lives of the citizens to whom I serve. And that was the main reason for that choice. I believe, therefore, in going forward, you should see it as a noble responsibility to effect change in the lives of your people. In my view, you should see it as part of your legacy. Genuinely, I mean this. I've said to my own statistics department, I do not want to leave government without being seen as making a radical change in the atmosphere and the perception about this important area of service. It has simply not been appreciated by our people sufficiently. So we have some work to do. I therefore see a bright future for statistics in the region. I'm confident that we can achieve the objective of a work program through the commitment, the hard work, the sacrifice, and the continued collaboration of all stakeholders. I therefore take this opportunity to assure you that the government of Grenada is highly committed to supporting the national statistical system and the work of the Standing Committee of Caribbean Statisticians in their efforts to ensure that there is an increased capacity in providing accurate, timely, and reliable data for all concerned. Do not be afraid to use me anytime, any place in the region that you think my voice can add to the value of this important area and to inform our people of its necessity to be given much more resources to effect what we're talking about, not just the words, but action on the ground. Use me. I'm available. I therefore want to conclude to acknowledge the contributions of our developmental partners who have helped us tremendously in the statistical development in our region. Friends, there is no reason, if we get our act together, there should be no reason why opposition and government in any country should be having their own data for unemployment, for poverty. What for else? Well, everything we talk about, the government saying one thing, the opposition saying one thing. We don't need this. These statisticians, if we do our work and we become more credible, then no one can interfere or twist our results for their own benefits. There should be no reason to do. And anyone attempt that, they're going to look terrible in the eyes of the population. But if we are not, if we haven't informed them of our role appropriately, if we have not professionalized the area sufficiently, and if we do not provide timely data to them, then you cannot blame them for every side listening to the other person or group. I honestly believe the time has come. We talk about providing an idea of unemployment statistics on a yearly basis. I don't see why. In the days of rapid technological advancement, but there are all sorts of easy variables, you know it, that can be used to give you a reasonably good estimate of unemployment. It's used all over the world. We don't even have to reinvent anything. There are countries that have been highly successful in giving accurate and timely information. There will come a time when the resources will be available, you can do it, and do a mass survey and work every single year or 6 months. Many countries may not have the resources. But we should be able, with simple tools, to give a reasonably accurate estimate and justify it accordingly on unemployment statistics and other basic information in the society. Therefore, in conclusion, sisters and brothers, I want to wish you a very successful meeting today and a productive week ahead. I do hope that the knowledge gained and the sharing of best practices and experiences in these meetings help us to become greater advocates for statistics in our respective countries. And I hope it will generate ideas to guide the development of regional statistics in providing quality data that meet the demands and to the benefits and work to the benefits of all the people of the Caribbean. I am therefore extremely happy to have you here in Grenada at this time. And I look forward to the conclusion of your results. And I would certainly be an advocate in taking your results to the next heads of government meeting and beyond. And as I said before, don't be afraid to use me. The ICT personnel in the region have been overusing me. I give you a chance to use me appropriately. Thank you, good morning, and enjoy the day and the rest of the week.
Prime Minister, thank you so very much for your leadership, first of all, by your presence here this morning, and for delivering the feature address that has, of course, set the tone for the rest of the forum. So we thank you again sincerely. At this time, I would like to invite Mr. Halim Brazan, who is our Director of Statistics, Grenada, to give the vote of thanks and to bring this session to a close. Mr. Brazan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance and Energy, Permanent Secretaries of Grenada, of other Caricom member states and associate members, Dr. Philomen Harrison, Project Director, Regional Statistics, Caricom Secretariat, Ms. L. Isa Muhammadu, Deputy Secretariat Manager, Paris 21. Mr. Crispin Gregoire, Chief of the Caribbean Regional Bureau for Latin America and the Caribbean, UNDP. Mr. Iwut Sanka, Head of Cooperation, Delegation of the European Union to Guyana, Suriname, Trinidad and Tobago, and for the Dutch overseas countries and territories. Mr. McDonald Thomas, Operations Officer, Social Sector Division, CDB. Directors of Statistics and Chief Statisticians, other high-level officials of Grenada and visiting member states, other representatives of national, regional, and international organizations, other special invitees, staff of the Caricom Secretariat, staff of the Central Statistical Office, Grenada, members of the media. Pleasant good morning to all. It is a privilege and a great joy to stand here on behalf of the Central Statistical Office of Grenada and the Ministry of Finance and Energy to deliver this vote of thanks at this opening ceremony for the second high-level forum on statistics in Caricom. I would first like to express utmost thanks to our Honorable Prime Minister for gracing us with his presence and delivering this inspiring keynote address. Prime Minister, your mere presence here speaks volumes. Your passion for statistics is quite evident in the way you delivered this keynote address. You have demonstrated your commitment to the development of statistics in Grenada and the region. This certainly is advocacy for statistics at the highest level. As a statistician who understands the plight of others in this field, your voice is a powerful one in the region for promoting the use of and investment in statistics among our heads of government. Your keynote address was certainly thought-provoking, as it speaks to the issues of optimal investment in statistics given our limited resources, the importance of ICT in revolutionizing the national statistical system, and the importance of statistics as a policy instrument. It also highlights the issue of accountability, the importance of accuracy, relevance, timeliness in the production of statistics, which is quite timely as we seek to develop statistics in the region. I also express heartfelt thanks to the Minister for Economic Development, Planning, Trade and Cooperative in his absence, because he has been quite supportive towards the hosting of this event. And also for agreeing to participate in the panel discussions after the coffee break. We look forward to his presentation today. I would like to express my gratitude to the Permanent Secretary and Deputy Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Finance and Energy, who have rendered full support to the hosting of this event in Grenada. The Permanent Secretary is currently out of state on government business, but expresses his warm wishes to the delegates. I would like to thank our Deputy Permanent Secretary for his cordial welcome remarks, which set the stage for the meeting today, and also for his astute chairmanship at this opening ceremony. My most profound appreciation goes out to Dr. Philomen Harrison, Project Director of Regional Statistics, who has been a true champion of this important event, even in the midst of challenges. Dr. Harrison, I would like to thank you for your highly informative speech put forward on behalf of the Deputy Secretary General of Caricom, which enlightened us about the works of Caricom in the development of statistics in the region, along with the support given by our development partners through the promotion of the regional work program. Gratitude is also extended to you and your staff at the Regional Statistics Office, at the Caricom Secretariat, and other offices at the Secretariat for your unwavering support in the hosting of this event in Grenada. Your efforts made where this event is concerned are outstanding and certainly held in our highest regard. We also offer heartfelt thanks for your tireless support towards the development of statistics in Grenada and in the region as a whole. Ms. El Isa Mohamedou, Deputy Secretariat Manager at OECD, Paris 21, our sincere appreciation is extended to you for your remarks here today. Your speech certainly put into perspective the role of Paris 21 in the promotion of not just the development of statistics, but ultimately the sustainable development of our economies through promoting the integration of good statistics in the decision-making process. I also want to thank Paris 21 in a special way for co-sponsoring this event by funding countries' participation. Your support shows your commitment to the mandate of Paris 21. I also want to recognize the work that you have been doing in the region in providing financial and technical support to national and regional strategies for the development of statistics. Sincerest thanks is extended to Mr. Crispin Gregoire, Chief for Caribbean at the Regional Bureau of Latin America and the Caribbean, UNDP, for your remarks here today, which highlights the development work of UNDP and the importance of data in doing this work. The UNDP has been promoting the issue of multidimensional poverty measures